This is a cubic inch of sound, and over the past week, we all watched Airplane. My name is Luke, and I am deathly allergic to oxygen. I'm going to die at any second. It's horrible.
I'm Kevin, and I forgot we did fun facts.
You always forget.
I'm Kyle. Oh, thanks, Luke. We even had an order. We had an established...
I know we had an order, and I made a little comment. That's how it works. I comment on that. I comment. That's what I do.
Okay, let me restart from the top, people. I'm Kyle, and I bought a $2 guitar today.
Sick.
I won't comment on that. I will not make any comments.
I'm Delilah, and I'm very tired. Oh my god. I feel so bad.
I'm Zach, and I'm the wild card.
Yeah.
What a wild card response.
I know, right?
So if Zach is the wild card, who's the brains of the operation and who's the muscle?
Who's the safest card?
So, nobody's the muscle, and I think Kevin's the brains.
No.
No, you know what? Nobody's the muscle, and
nobody's
else
the brains.
We have 4 brains and 1 wild card. It's gonna be a
4
Is
brains,
the muscle
1
like the
wild.
henchman or something?
No, it's like when you got a heist, you got the brains, the brawn, the hacker,
And then the main character.
the truck freak.
The truck freak?
Yeah, the truck freak. Wait, you've
Yeah.
never
He's
seen a heist movie
really into
before?
trucks.
I've never seen the truck freak. No.
Oh well, sucks.
Yeah.
So we watched
I don't know what
Airplane.
kind of
You guys
heist
like the
movies you've been
movie?
watching?
Airplane was the movie. Yep. With an airplane sometimes.
Yeah, Airplane is the movie that we watched. We were going to watch Superbad, and then we started watching it, and we were like, I have no idea how we're going to review this in a wholesome, family-friendly way. So, you know what? We're not even gonna try, and we
Yeah.
didn't. We gave
I'm
up.
pretty like the first 5 minutes broke like more FCC guidelines than I think there are. So
I thought it was good. It was very chaotic, and it didn't take itself seriously, which is like perfect.
It was a parody film about people
Yes.
on an airplane.
I think
I
if
thought it
it
was
took
pretty
itself
realistic. What kind of planes are
seriously-
you guys going on?
Actually, you know what? I think honestly, I think the opposite of what Zach said. I think the parts where it took itself seriously were where it really was good. Like
Do you?
it pretended like its plot actually had a lot of weight when it was just stupid.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
but
I
you.
mean,
I thought you were saying that you liked it when it wasn't comedic, when it was just like plot happening, and I'm like, did we watch the same movie?
No, I'm just saying I liked it when it like ironically took itself seriously.
hmm
yeah, I
Like
like.
the entire character of the Doctor, like that whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah, what was I gonna say? I liked that it was chaotic, but there was a plot that happened that I was like fairly interested in. Like, there was
What are you talking about?
Stakes
They
and
put the
stuff.
plane in the air and then they put the plane on the ground. That's how it usually goes.
nah, the fish.
But see, there's a man who went onto the plane in order to get his girlfriend back, and he used to pilot. He was a pilot in the war, but now he's terrified of flying because he crashed, and then he has to land the plane because everybody gets sick from fish that were bad fish. Morally,
There's a
So many people like
microplastics in the
fish.
fish.
Like
man.
what was the other one? It was like steak?
I think so.
Yeah.
Steak is way better than fish.
What?
Yeah, I'm
Hey,
not.
now.
I'm not really a seafood guy, to be honest. Like, yeah, I can eat fish, but I
I'll be
would choose
honest.
a steak.
Seafood is
I'll
good.
be honest though, if I were putting my faith in airline food, I feel like the fish would be better than the steak because like
Really?
Ooh, that's a good point. It,
Yeah.
it is easier to
Ooh.
screw up a steak.
yeah, because
Yeah.
it'd probably be really tough and it was frozen. Whereas like if you make a frozen fish, it still tastes like fish.
I think I'd go for the
Fair.
Cheez-Its and like a quarter of a glass of Sierra Mist.
Of syrup? Oh,
Sierra
Sierra
Mist. Actually,
Quarter
I
glass
said
of syrup.
I said it's easier to screw up the steak, but I guess I should say it's easier to make a mistake. Am I right? Whew.
Okay.
Oh,
I've been using that
God.
joke for years.
God.
Yeah, there was a lot of especially there's one flashback scene to when the man and the stewardess first met. I don't know any of their names. I don't know if you guys know the names of characters. I don't remember
Ted
any of
Stryker.
them.
Ted Stryker's the pilot, the main character.
Ted Stryker and Elaine Dickinson.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a flashback to when Ted and Elaine first meet, first fall in love, and it's very
Right.
slapstick. It's very physical comedy, but it's all like very well done. I enjoyed it a lot. There was a lot of running gags.
The disco scene. It was like it was like longer than I expected.
It was
like
way
a whole,
longer.
It was like a whole 10 minutes. I was like, okay, wow, we're really
Playing the same song.
As we were watching it, somebody else showed up, and then I was like, it's gonna look like we're watching a movie that's just about this and not watching a movie about an airplane, you know?
Yeah.
I agree. It was like most of the scenes were just like flashbacks. I felt like most of it was just the flashbacks than it was really about what was happening on the plane.
I thought it was pretty funny because every single one of the flashbacks was just Stryker just telling someone a story from the past, and they were just the passengers that were all around him were just not having it. All of them were either he was awful at storytelling or he was going way too into detail, and it was so boring.
Yeah, they like
maybe do you think he sang
themselves.
the entire song that was being played in the disco to them while he was explaining his dance?
I would be impressed if he managed to
Yeah.
be honest.
At first, when he first explained the woman's feet were hanging out of the camera, I was like, what? And because like everything is just chaotic, so it's just like, oh, like she.
Zach was
something, and then,
distracted
like-
by the feet.
And then,
Can you blame him?
All right, enough. But as like it progressed, I was like, oh no.
Yeah, they were
Like the dude
they were not
stabbing
entertained.
Yeah.
The running gags were all really good. There's this at the very beginning of the movie, Ted is trying to get to the airport, and I guess he's a cab driver because he pulls up in a cab and somebody tries to get into the cab. Or I think they might have already been in there, but we keep just like cutting back to the guy sitting there in the cab being like, "Oh,
And the fare like increasing
yeah."
exponentially.
Exponentially? What kind of
No,
cabs
okay,
are you
well,
going in?
Not exponentially, but you know.
I mean,
you know what
that almost makes sense. The cab is going really far away from where it started. Then, like, shouldn't they get paid a better rate? It should increase exponentially.
Right.
I especially like how he was like, I'll give it some more time. He'll get back. I've been in here for like hours, but I'll give it some more time.
Yeah, he was like kept checking his watch. He's like, oh, okay, I'll just stay here.
He was,
Like, oh, nothing's amiss.
you know, some
I
days
still,
you just gotta sit in the cab. That's how it goes.
yeah. I when I was a kid, and I first watched this movie, my favorite running gag was usually the doctor. Every time they said, "Shirley, doctor, you can't be serious." Don't call me Shirley.
Yeah.
But honestly, now that I'm rewatching it, the best one is the stewardess, we have to get these people to a hospital, but there's something else. What is it? Oh, a hospital? It's a place where you put sick people.
Yeah.
It's important right now.
The very literal jokes. I love
Yeah.
those.
It's so ironic and just so like. Yeah, there's a
You're
whole bunch of
ironic.
them. Oh, thanks. And then all the people's names, Roger, Over, what was the other guy's name? The
Uh,
pilot.
I don't remember.
With like navigation or something.
Yeah, something
I think
like
that was his
that.
job.
Just super literal. Which
There
is
were a lot
great
of
'cause it was,
jokes
like, dry
that were
humor.
funny, and when I heard them, I laughed, and I was like, haha, that's a funny joke. That's what I
didn't
want in a
use to know
comedy.
Yeah.
once.
It wasn't like what was I gonna say? Like where it's not like SNL where they like deliver a joke and there's like a punchline. It was just perpetually funny. Like it wasn't like actively telling jokes, it just like everything was just funny. Do you know what I'm saying?
It's not like SNL where Elon Musk shows up dressed as Wario.
Exactly. Yeah, no.
To
But
be
there
honest,
was no,
I never saw that. I've just heard about it.
Yeah, same.
Do you get what I'm saying though? There was no like official punchlines. It was just like Just everything was like perpetually funny.
Kind of. I mean,
And
I
I
think
like
that there
that.
were. I think there like you could definitely say that there was a setup and a punchline to most things, but it wasn't like
Some things.
it. They didn't linger on things. They
Yeah.
kind of just, they kept rolling with it.
Like
Every
it
joke
wasn't,
they
it
make
was,
is really like three more jokes rolled into one.
yeah, it wasn't like they
You have to laugh
paused,
at all
like you
three
said,
individually.
after a joke. They just like they just kind of like went over it like nothing happened.
Yeah, and then
And
you need to like manually pause every 2 seconds. You pause the TV and you just like laugh, and then you unpause it.
It's like the laugh track, but you yourself are laughing.
Whoa! What if we were the laugh
Oh.
track?
Yeah.
The autopilot was the best character.
Nah, I like the Doc, to be honest. The Doc was awesome. Autopilot
Doc
was
was
cool and
cool.
all, but Doc was awesome.
Doc was like the only serious character. Actually, that's not true. But like, he was a character that like his lines were all like somewhat
They were delivered
sensible.
very well.
Yeah, and somewhat sensible.
Okay, but here's the thing. The autopilot wins at the end because once they land the plane, spoiler alert, sorry. Once they land the plane, then they just like look back and they see the autopilot, who is just like a little inflatable man who sits in the pilot's seat, reinflates and then starts flying the plane away, and then he has an autopilot wife. And they fly away, never to be seen again.
Don't forget about the wink. The classic wink.
I just heard a pop.
Wink.
A pop? What?
I have no idea. It was terrifying.
I
Dude,
didn't hear anything.
The funny part is the autopilot can fly the plane like perfectly well. Maybe its only function was that it could not land the plane, but it took off fine too. So like whenever like someone else is flying the plane other than the pilot, it's like going all crazy, and then with the autopilot, it's just
Yeah, I guess they probably could have just had the autopilot land it.
Yeah.
He could have done a good job.
yeah. But what about the plot then? You know?
It wouldn't have been dramatic enough. I really was watching
Yeah.
this for the plot, so if they had a big plot hole like that, it would have really ruined everything for me.
Exactly. Yeah.
I agree.
There's no plot holes in this movie.
It's a good thing that the plot was like airtight. There are no holes in it whatsoever. So
Huh,
Yeah, exactly.
Airtight?
Plane.
as in an airplane cabin.
now that's pressurized.
Whatever. You get same thing.
Oh,
It's-
actually,
I
when
hope
the
it's
plane was
also
first
airtight.
taking off, there's like this guy and this girl, and they were like, she was chasing the plane as if it was like a train leaving its station, and it was like flying, and they're like tossing things to each other and be like, "I'll never forget you."
Yeah, that was
She was
pretty neat.
knocking over the things.
Do you guys know about airplane mode?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do. I wish I didn't.
Like the brand or
No.
like the clothing brand or like
What? Wait,
the,
now I don't know what you're talking about.
or the
um,
phone thing.
The phone thing.
It was no.
airplane mode.
It was a 2019 film made by the Paul brothers and like a bunch of social media influencers that was supposed to be like I guess a remake or a reimagining or a parody of Airplane.
It's
I'm
probably
sorry.
not that good.
That it's horrible, and that's all very important. But now I just looked up airplane mode. I'm on airplane mode Miami, and it is in fact a fashion brand.
Yeah.
I had never heard that before.
They
Well,
make
to
some
be
pretty
fair,
cool stuff.
I'm more confused because I looked it up on Wikipedia and I see that there's both a 2019 film and a 2020 film, which seems weird to have, 2 years in a row there was a movie called Airplane Mode. But it looks like the 2021 is a Brazilian comedy film that's it's not airplane. It's not in the airplane universe.
Wait, didn't they make more airplanes? Like, isn't there an airplane 2 and 3?
I know that there's a second one. I don't know if there's a third one.
Okay, but the description for the Brazilian airplane mode is really aggressive, and I like it. A social media influencer crashes her car while using her cell phone and is exiled to her grandfather's farm.
Who gets exiled to a farm in 2020?
You are now exiled.
I mean, doesn't
because you
Dr.
can't-
Phil do that sometimes?
Exiled.
I don't
to
think
some
Dr.
Wait,
Phil
farm.
does anything.
Dr. Phil exiles errant teens to his ranch where they must learn to live his farmhand.
Does Dr. Phil have the power to exile people?
I mean,
I
he
don't think
does.
so.
Dr. Phil
Like-
is a bad person. I just want to make this clear. I'm not a fan of Dr. Phil.
Really? Are
Yeah,
you saying
really.
that
Is that
ironically or
surprising?
just like
No, seriously, Dr. Phil. That's a lot of exploitation on that show. It's kind of messed up.
that? That is true. Yeah, fair enough.
I'm going on the airplane mode deep dive, and now I've found there's a Steam game called Airplane Mode that is just you just are on an airplane ride for 6 hours.
That's
And
Those
it.
are
Like
like
there's,
desert
it's
bus,
just
but airplane.
And I can't say how much it is, but however much you think it is, it's way more.
Is it multiplayer at least?
No,
is it like Passenger
it-
Simulator?
Is it VR?
it's got mixed reviews.
That doesn't say if it's
Okay,
VR or
if
not.
it was VR, I could almost imagine it as like a way of helping people get over a fear of flying. You know?
Oh yeah, that's
I
not,
think-
that's actually a thing though. I think that is an actual thing. We learned about that in AP Psych in high school. I think that they do simulations. Yeah.
I think it's called a fight and flight.
Yeah, I forgot
Yeah.
about
Stuff.
that.
Human instinct?
Um,
Fight or flight?
my favorite. It might be a Bitcoin miner. Because my favorite review is,
What?
according to my GPU temperature, I'm running Red Dead Redemption 2 while playing this.
I feel
Also, my
like we can't
computer is-
assume that any poorly optimized game is a Bitcoin miner.
Red Dead Redemption 2 is not poorly optimized.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Oh,
Also,
okay.
My computer made more realistic airplane noises than the game did.
Wait, let's get back on track.
Zach, you
Yeah,
don't rein
it's
us in. You're the wild card. If anything, you should be reining us out.
I'm reining us out of this discussion.
I'm reining us back into this because now I'm invested.
In what?
Kyle,
my
tell us
God.
more.
They,
Oh my
they'll-
God.
my God, I have like phlegm in my throat. I'm looking at the screenshots, and for your in-flight entertainment, they just hand you a book and you just read. You just read for 6 hours.
What book is it?
The airplane mode game.
I don't know. It looks like some French book.
It's 101
Oh.
classic books
Oh.
for the Nintendo DS.
It would make sense. I've flown on
French.
quite a bit of flights, and some of them have screens on the back of each chair that lets you either watch a movie, listen to music, radio, or you can just watch your flight. You could just watch yourself fly.
Isn't that
with
what
a
real life is
tracker.
for?
No, with a tracker. So
Oh,
like it has a
okay.
big old map of all 50 states, and you see your starting point and then your ending point. And it's like a rough estimate of when you get there, and then you're like, oh, I can see how far I've come.
I think they should make it like Twitch plays Pokemon, where you can like choose how the plane like flies. Like everyone gets an input, or like you vote on the input for the plane.
Hey, you remember in
Like,
Mission Impossible that time
IRL
that
or
Tom
just
Cruise
in the-
like hung onto a plane as it was taken off? You
Oh,
think he
yeah.
could do that?
Wait, no spoilers.
Me?
I haven't seen that film yet.
Wait, it's like the first scene.
Oh, okay. Continue.
So
Yeah, do you,
it
Kevin?
appears-
Do you personally think that you could do that? Would you be able to?
Give me like a month of training, then I could probably do it.
Okay, all right,
Month.
fair.
Your grip strength has to be insane.
Yeah, you would, or else you'd fall. But I mean, you know, you've
You'd
got the
have to do some grip
adrenaline
strength
going
workouts.
too. Like,
How
you'd
far is this
be-
plane going? Is
It's
it like an
the
8-hour
fight or
flight?
instinct.
No, he like holds on to the outside of the plane, and then I think he gets into the plane. It's been a while since I saw that one. I don't think he's just
That's
hanging out
7.
on the plane. I don't think 7 even is. I don't think that exists. I don't think that is one of them.
Yeah,
I
I,
think
think,
that-
it is. Who's or what's at 7?
It wasn't Mission
what's the
Impossible 6 Fallout? Wasn't that the most recent one?
Nah, I swear there was 7.
I'm pretty sure it was 5. I'm pretty sure this one was 5. I'm gonna look up Mission Impossible 7 because now you're making me curious. Yeah, it
Here's
comes
the
out in
novel.
2022. It comes out next year.
Zach is
Oh,
from the
wait.
future.
Yeah.
Zach,
Yeah,
what year
yeah,
is
no.
it to you?
Well, it's 2021, one right now, but I'm from the future.
Where are you from?
No,
Uh, 20 59.
That's a
You had to
cool
think
year.
about it.
Yeah.
That's a good year to be from. All right.
Yeah.
So yeah, the thing about Airplane is that I feel like we can't really talk about it too much, other than just like repeating the jokes, and then we're just kind of ruining it. I
Can I
will
bring up
say
something?
I will say I would definitely recommend it though. This is a good movie,
Yeah.
and about time for us to address the elephant in the room, which is that
I mean, before we get there, actually, there's one joke from Airplane that I just right now thinking about it, I just thought it
when
was
you're
so
gonna
hilarious.
repeat it.
Like, no, it's actually I don't know if I don't think we've mentioned it, but where the characters, the wife, the husband, and the son, Joey, and how the wife is like, "Oh, that's strange. My husband never takes a second cup of coffee," and like we get to a scene where like she's also been affected by the spoiled fish dinner,
Mhm.
and everyone's walking up, and like one of the stewardess are like shaking her. It's like it's gonna be okay, and then and then the doctor cuts in and he's like, "Don't worry, I got this." And he's like shaking her. It's gonna be okay. And then the next
slaps her.
person comes up, slaps her, and just like it's a repeat of everyone going through in a line saying it's gonna be okay, but they have different means of like punishing her.
Different weapons.
They
They
get
have, like, different
progressively
weapons, like,
more aggressive.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. And I
Well,
just thought it was so
until-
hilarious.
Until the lady with actually a pistol, and then after that, they kind of don't compare.
just beat a horse at that point.
Yeah.
Well, you wonder what the
Um,
people after her were even gonna do, to be honest.
I think there
I
was
saw
some with a
someone,
bat.
like, yeah, and I think I saw someone with boxing gloves.
Oh
I'm not-
yeah,
Oh yeah. Wait, can I bring up something real quick?
go
Luke?
for it.
Yeah, go for it.
There was an odd like basketball theme in this movie. Like there was the Preem Abdul Jabbar, who is Roger. Is that the actual basketball player? I don't know enough about basketball.
I would assume that it was the actual
he was-
basketball player.
He's like a multi-Hall of Famer. He was probably the best player until Michael Jordan.
Oh wow, okay. So there was him. There was some other stuff too. It was basketball themed, and then there was one point in the control room when they were landing the plane. They were playing like a pong sort of game, but it was basketball instead on one of the computer screens.
So you're saying is there's
I
a
think-
conspiracy theory that this was actually a basketball movie instead of an airplane movie?
I think so. I don't know. Do you guys see that there was like a lot of basketball references in the movie?
I saw late too.
There was
I
there was
noticed.
more though. It was enough for me to like notice it.
I didn't.
Yeah, me
Oh,
neither.
well, you probably weren't paying attention.
Also,
Oh.
Yeah,
wow,
I'm sure.
there was also the scene where they were teaching the natives to play basketball when they were.
Oh,
on-
right.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah. So, do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
It was a lot.
there were at least 3 instances of basketball, and I guess since it's 3, you can say it's a pattern.
yeah.
You're allowed.
Mm,
It's a pattern.
It's a
it's
pattern.
a pattern.
This was actually
Just
the
one-
Space Jam 2 that we were all looking for, except it was before Space Jam.
Yeah.
Big Chungus wasn't even in this one, but I guarantee it'll be in the second one.
Is Big
He's-
Chungus in Space Jam?
Is he
I
gonna
think-
be in the second one?
I would-
I hope he's
they
in the
have
second
to.
one.
They
Dude, he's
have
gonna be in the
to.
crowd. Big Chungus. Okay, it's gonna be a theater full of people. Big Chungus is gonna show up on the screen, and everyone's going to laugh. I'm
I
envisioning.
would
I'm already
cringe,
laughing
but
just
in like a
thinking about
funny
it.
way. You know, I'd be like, I hope that the movie is really bad and it has Big Chungus, because if it's a really good movie with Big Chungus, then he'll be bringing it down. But if it's a really bad movie with
Combo.
Big Chungus, he'll be bringing it up.
Bring it up. I think it's gonna be good. It looks good.
I don't have super high hopes for it. It's not the movie that Michael Jordan really wanted to make, so
Oh, really?
yeah, no, there's this whole conspiracy that Michael Jordan had a planned Space Jam 2 that was going to be 4-dimensional, but I don't want to get into that.
Wow.
Anyway, I was I guess we did want to say more things about Airplane.
I
The
would say overall, Airplane watching it was kind of. I liked it. I liked that it set up a lot of jokes and like it didn't forget anything it brought up. I think it kind of just gave it a nice ending, especially like with the taxi cab fare joke where they set it up all the way at the beginning, and you're gonna like, oh, maybe that was just a missed opportunity, and towards the end, they delivered up and they ended it. They're like, yes, this joke we did forget, and I really enjoyed that, and I thought this movie was just overall pretty funny. Like I laughed probably harder than I should have. It was really silly, but I genuinely really enjoyed the movie.
Wait,
It was just
sorry,
like
go ahead.
Honestly,
I'm
there's
just
not enough silly movies coming out these days. You have a lot of
Yeah.
comedies, but not really silly.
Yeah,
I think it was really refreshing because comedy just like people get very offended easily, and there's just a lot of things you could joke about before that probably some comedians are too afraid to say, or it's just not uh carried out very well, and I think it's kind of sad. It's just very saturated market of the same jokes being told over and over, and I think Airplane was just a little refreshing that it
just
didn't
chaotic.
care, and I
Yeah,
like
I get what you're saying. The like movies nowadays, like I go out to like watch a funny movie. It's just like not like there'll be some gags, funny stuff, where it'd be like slapstick humor or something like that.
yeah.
But it's just like stuff that's like again like they make it so purposeful that they're like telling a joke on screen that it ruins it. They're like,
God,
oh,
you
like
guys are
you're
such
supposed to laugh at
boomers.
this.
Oh, comedy these days isn't what it used to be. People are too easily
No,
offended.
no.
As if
You don't.
we
I think-
haven't gotten great comedy movies like recently.
Jojo Rabbit.
I was gonna say exactly that. We are on the exact
Yeah.
same wavelength right now.
Okay, I have not seen Jojo Rabbit, but
I've
but,
not
like
seen it either.
the
Recommended.
the normal set of comedy in Jojo Rabbit was that I don't know, what would you say that as? Was that like
So
off the
It-
beaten
it
track
was
sort of film?
it was not fully like silly. Like it was a comedy
Yeah.
that was also a drama, but that is exactly the kind of movie that if it was made in the 80s, people would say that they would never make it these days. You know what I mean?
yeah, Jojo Rabbit. Anything Taika Waititi makes is kind of like an outlier with that because Thor Ragnarok was also a very silly movie. Like
Right.
Taika
That
Waititi
was funny. That was funny.
one of like the only comedians still doing like the very silly, like doesn't even really take itself seriously anymore. Which I like which is why Taika Waititi is really beloved and like all of his movies do very well,
Because they don't take themselves seriously.
and also because he's just a funny guy.
Yeah.
He's a funny guy. Yeah.
Was he
I wanna
behind
meet
Hunt
him.
for the Wilder People? Was he? Did he do Hunt for the Wilder People, or was that somebody else? Was that just some other news?
No, that was
guy?
him.
That's what I thought.
He
Those
played
are the
he
good-
played the priest in it.
Oh yeah, I forgot. That movie was not nearly as silly as Jojo Rabbit, but was somehow just as depressing. So
It's a good adventure.
I don't know, it was a little bit silly. There was silliness. There was a good amount of
I
silly.
felt sillied.
Okay,
it was
so
pretty silly. We're not. This isn't a cubic inch of Jojo Rabbit or Taika Waititi. Save it for the podcast, boy.
Yeah.
You
all
could actually
right.
do that though.
No,
That'd be
we're way off schedule. We've got a very specific schedule we're supposed to follow here. We're like the Polar Express. Okay. Basically, what I was trying to say before is that we hired somebody to be on the podcast today. Look at what we had to do. Look at the lack of people who want to be on this podcast. That we have to pay them money like it's some sort of job. So,
Who did we pay though? Who did we pay?
Delilah, where
Figure it out.
where did we find you?
you found me on a friendly little website called ePal.
And what do you do on ePal? What is ePal?
Basically, ePal is offered. I don't know. Okay, so I basically offer companionship or an ear for someone to listen, like need if they want somebody to listen, or really, they're not finding enough people to communicate with. Like anything really, I offer a sort of relationship, friendship, for a
Service.
small fee. Like I don't know how to explain. It's just kind of silly to explain. Like I mean, obviously doing it is like feels so natural, but just like explaining it is kind of I don't want to say embarrassing, a little silly, I guess.
What's like your average customer?
Like that how they behave or like
I mean,
Yeah, what
like,
do they do?
what kinds of people? Yeah.
I
All right, we got an answer.
He's trying to get you to say gamers.
Okay, for the most part, a lot of customers that I do receive are very kind. I haven't run into anybody that's just like very mean or like vicious. At least not yet. I haven't.
That's good.
It is actually because I've heard so many stories about people running into all kinds of just
Oh,
like
really?
mean and like vile people. It's like
Oh.
like how does this human being exist? It's just kind of I don't know. I don't know how somebody can just be so evil to somebody. Like it's
So do you have any,
actually
like-
pretty
Oh,
sad.
sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
I was gonna ask if you had any funny stories.
That you'd be willing to tell.
Yeah.
Okay. I once had a recurring customer who told me that they loved me after just one order. They were just like, "I'm in love with you," and
So it was
what I
like-
thought was like,
Seriously?
seriously, like they were telling me, you know, I'd be a recurring customer. I'm willing to like fly over to meet you, or I'll fly you over to meet me, and
Oh,
we can
wow.
live together, and
Oh,
like
wow.
you could take care
Oh,
of
it's
me.
strong.
And the thing about this customer is that they said they were a cat boy, and they meowed a lot.
No. Oh, no.
No way. No way.
Oh,
Now,
no.
I don't want to use this word lightly, but that's cringe. Also, I'm really sorry. That's
Yeah.
Wait, a follow-up question to that is: have you met any fans in like personal
Fans.
fans? I guess, or customers?
No, I have not met anybody. I feel like that's kind of like dangerous. I
Yeah.
wouldn't
Yeah, I would
actually
say
just
so.
wanna. I have no idea what anybody's intention is, so I
Very
actually
true.
would not give out any forms of social media or like anything that's tied to me where I
Your
live.
location or anything? Yeah.
Anything like
And I
that.
would say that's really smart. That is
Yeah.
because
Because
when you're going in, I'm sorry, you can continue.
no,
You're the expert.
Go ahead. I'm interested to hear what you have to say.
I was just gonna say when you're going into something like this, which is like already, you know, you hear stories all the time from ages ago where it's like, oh, you know, meeting people on the internet, like that's already kind of sketchy. Having internet friends, and these are people like not only that you're not friends with, but are kind of paying you to be friends with them, which can get into some dangerous waters. So, you know, I think that's definitely smart.
To tie into that, I actually, when I first started, I met a guy who, because he paid for like a couple orders, like I think probably like one or two,
Mm.
he acted like he owned me,
Ooh.
and he owned my time, and I love playing League of Legends, and so he ordered me for a game, and we played, and like I didn't really wasn't used to like knowing how to deal with like outside of that. Once that order is done, once that business is finished, what I do afterwards with that person. Like, do I delete them off my friends list? Do I not talk to them anymore? Like I don't want to offend anybody. What if they reorder? Because
True.
ePal also has a reviewing system. Like, you know, if you're happy with the services that are provided, you can rate them out of like 5 stars and like leave a little description, whatever you want. And so a lot of ePals strive to just, you know, make sure that their records are perfect. You just 5 out of 5 every time, because if you just get one order that's just like 0 stars or like 1 star, like it just drops your review rating and it just makes you look bad. And no one wants to look bad because then people won't want to order you. They're
So
like,
it is very
"Why? What's so?"
competitive.
Oh, is
In
it
a
competitive?
way, well, to be honest, I really don't know. I don't really communicate too much with other
Hmm.
other e-pals. But from like what I've seen from like things being posted on the website in the uh like communication section between like everybody posting whatever, it can seem like a pretty competitive thing because everybody could just like snatch your customer right from you. So it's like
Yeah.
if you're
Is there a
not doing
community to it?
something, there actually is. There is a community. There's a couple discords for both customers and the e-pallers
Hmm.
to try to find each other, set up more like formal kind of meetings to like see if this person's the perfect kind of e-pal you want to play with. Is this your kind of person you feel comfortable talking with? And
Right.
there's just like I don't know, there's just many reasons someone would order an e-pal. Like obviously some people kind of just get really lonely. I've had a few people who actually uh were from China who wanted to learn English better and they hired me to just talk to them, communicate with them
Oh,
in
that's
English.
actually
Oh,
really
that's cool.
cool.
Yeah.
And you know, for a small amount of time, it was someone's English teacher. We reviewed their English test together. They're like, will you let me know if I'm phrasing it right, or if I'm a better way for me to say this, or I say this and like you translate so I can understand better. I'm like, yeah, of course. And
That's
it was
cool.
actually a pretty fun experience.
Pretty wholesome.
Just talking to them and just like seeing someone just want to learn English, and it's just like so weird because it's just like it's my first language, so I don't think really anything of it. And they're like, English is kind of hard. Like there's just
Mhm.
so many like certain words in Chinese that don't have a direct translation. So trying to find the perfect word that describes how I'm feeling is like a little
That's
difficult.
very wholesome. Very wholesome story.
Wholesome 100 moment.
Yeah, that is wholesome 100. Wait,
I was
what is
trying to avoid making it a Reddit moment. But,
Like
Yeah.
this guy was also very like so the nicest person I've like met that just like it's not very fluent English but tried his best, and he like
That's cool.
apologized if he couldn't like if he wasn't making any sense. I'm like, don't worry about it, I understand. And he was like, oh my god, you're so nice, you're so sweet. And I'm like, I'm not even doing too much. I'm just like I feel like I'm doing nothing at all. I'm just like thinking about like how I can just help you pick up English faster.
Right.
And
I've
he actually like practiced a bit for tests that are coming up, and he actually did very good. And he like celebrated, and he's like, I passed my test and I think it's all thanks to you. And I'm like, really, I didn't do anything. I'm just so happy that everything went well for you.
That's nice. That's cute.
awesome. What does an order consist of? Like, does someone have you for like a certain amount of time? A game?
it
How does that work?
actually it actually depends on each individual ePal. The
Okay.
way your listings work is that you can either set it up for just the entirety of one game, or you can set it up for at least 30 minutes in order, or an hour. So
Okay.
it's broken down into 30 minutes to an hour or entire game. And however long that ePal deems, their time is up. There's just like, I don't know, some ridiculous listings. There is one called Sleep Call, which, I mean, as it sounds, you just sleep in a call with somebody. And I just think it's so weird to pay someone to sleep in a call with you.
Mm.
Like, and some people are
To
like
pay, yeah.
Especially when Kelsey
charging
will do
up
it for
to,
free.
yeah, it's just a sane amount to sleep in a call with someone. Just too much money. Too much money.
Yeah.
And
But
I
I mean, it definitely tells you that there is a market for these
Yeah.
things,
yeah.
What is
and
like the
that
etiquette for it? Is it like, can you mute yourself, or do they want to hear you?
it all depends on the e-pal. It all depends on that person. I mean, something that on the e-pal website is, you have the listing, but you can set the profile or the cover of the listing to like a picture of you, and then you click on the listing and you're like, oh, this girl looks cute, and then she can have more pictures up, like describing what her prices are, what she's willing to do. She'd be like, once I feel like you're asleep, then I'll leave the call, or, once 30 minutes is up, then I'm going to bed, or I'm leaving the call, anything, or maybe she'll be like, I'll sleep the whole night in the call with you, and, like, just let the timer keep going until we get up, and then however long we've been in call, like, I'll charge you that amount. Like, it's definitely just up to the person. I haven't really looked into it, because I feel like it's kind of silly. I'm mostly on the gaming side, so I just
Hey.
charge, well, not that I charge, but, like, I guess my limits would be, like, the game. I don't have it set for 30 minutes or an hour because, League of Legends games can take any
A long
amount of time.
time.
Yeah, and
Very long.
and I'm not gonna be, like, pretty greedy about it, so, like, whenever the game ends, it ends.
What if somebody like
Yeah.
essentially filibusters you by just like setting up a game that will last forever? What would you do?
Impossible. It won't. I
Never
don't think it'll last forever. Like, the game will eventually
Possible.
end.
Eventually, but what if it's been days?
Okay,
Well,
Quidditch match.
I don't think it'll ever get its level.
If it makes you feel any better, Luke, the server will shut your game down after 6 hours, so it'll be at most 6 hours.
Okay.
League? Has there ever reached a point in League of Legends?
Yes, somebody in a ranked game in like Australia
Oh my God.
held people hostage for like 6 hours, then the server shut it down. So that's how we know.
How?
Held
That sounds-
people
like,
hostage?
That's
How
interesting.
yeah.
How do you hold someone hostage in a game of League of Legends?
Basically, 3 people all queued up at the same time, trying to get into matches with each other, and if they weren't on the in matches with each other, they would dodge and try again.
Okay.
It ended up 2 people were on one team, 1 person was on the other team, and they were playing characters that pretty much infinitely scaled. So they were able to stop the game from ending from both sides.
That's actually really
Wow.
interesting.
Oh,
Wait, what's the guy that like can consume and he like grows in size?
Okay.
It
I'm
wasn't-
reining you
Yeah,
in.
we're going a
Zach.
little off.
We didn't need to
Yeah,
go too far.
I'll just say the characters and I'll start. It was Nasus and Vagar on one team and Tristana on the other team.
ugh. Oh, no.
Oh, I'm sure that means a lot.
Oh, no.
Hey, wait a minute. Do you guys hear that noise? You know what that noise means? It means it's time for the bonus round. The bonus round is when we put 30 seconds on the clock, and Delilah, you have those 30 seconds to answer as many of our questions as you can. Are you ready?
Oh my gosh. No, I'm.
Okay, so just you don't have to explain, you don't have to say, just answer the question as fast as you can, okay?
Is there like yes and no?
I mean, they're not true. It's just they're questions. I mean, you'll have to wait and see. Okay.
Okay.
Timer will start when I ask the first question.
All right.
Okay. What is your favorite book?
I can't remember.
Okay. What monster is the
uh,
scariest?
The boogeyman.
Do you put the toilet paper over or under the roll?
Over.
Do you think that I'm cool?
Yes.
Okay, so an object is dropped from rest at a height of 20 meters and falls until
Oh
it
my
reaches
God.
the ground. How long will it take, and what is the maximum speed it reaches immediately before impact? You may assume that acceleration due to gravity is 10 meters per second per second. Sorry, you're out of time. Okay, that was good. Good job.
Thank you. Thank you.
You actually went a little bit over, but that time over was just me reading the last question, so it's okay. You can have some time to work on that one. Just get it back to me by the end of the week.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would say my favorite book is probably Ender's Shadow. It's a good book.
I've never
Is it-
read any of the Ender's Game books. I've always
Yeah.
kind of been curious about it, but like
It
Good movie.
doesn't.
time.
It
I'm
doesn't
just gonna
tie
take a moment.
exactly into the main series. It's like its own spin-off. So it is its own little spin-off. It's about
Is it the one where it follows another person? Like
It
it's from someone
follows-
else's perspective during the events of.
Yes, it follows this character named Bean who eventually ends up on Ender's team. So he is a little bit in the movie, and I was like so excited. I never read Ender's Game. I read the spin-off, and I was so excited to see the secondary character in this movie. I was like, yes, Bean. I'm so excited.
That's cool.
Can I have like an English major moment real quick? To Orson Scott Card is such a good author. Have you read any like of the Dune novels?
I don't think I have.
Oh, they're really really good. If you liked Ender's Game, you'd probably really like Dune.
What is the Dune
Isn't there
movie
a
coming
Dune?
out?
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
say it got delayed like 20 times.
Yeah, but it's probably definitely coming out in October.
Isn't Timothy Chalamet in it?
Yeah, Timothy Shal Ding Dong. Timothy, I have a huge crush on him. Ding Dong. Yeah.
I don't like what just happened. I don't like any of it, to be honest.
He's 25. He's like my age. It's fine.
It was a combination of things that I didn't like.
Hey, but Timothy Chalamet is hot. Okay. That's
Okay,
all-
sure, yeah, he's hot. I'm not gonna disagree.
Jason
Like,
Momoa is yeah, Frank Herbert's Dune is very good.
Frank Herbert. Is Frank Herbert's the writer?
Yeah, I spent an inordinate amount of money to get a very high quality version of the Dune book, and I'm not proud of it, but it's a very nice looking copy.
I'd like to see that someday.
you sound like Dan talking about movies.
I like books. What do you want from me?
No, I'm not making
Do
fun
not-
of you. I'm just saying you sound like Dan is always like, oh man, I had to order this special
Steelbook case.
limited steelbook case of airplane for a lot of money, and they had to deliver it in an airplane.
I posted a picture in the chat for all of our non-audio listeners to see.
There aren't non-audio listeners. Stop pretending that there are people who can see us.
Wait, speaking, going off the beaten track, Luke, you can rein me in if you want, but whatever. Speaking of premium collections, there's a very cool Godzilla collection that comes with the posters, and it's like features like the 1960s films, like 1970s or 80s, but it has a lot of cool art.
That's
so
pretty cool.
yeah, I just wanted to
hey,
mention
Delilah,
that.
you mentioned that you like gardening, right?
I do. I love gardening.
Could you tell us any fun gardening facts?
Mm.
What's something I wouldn't know about gardening?
There's just so many. I can't. Ugh. The soil is very important. The soil is very important when it comes to gardening. You have to have the right type of soil.
That's deep.
What's your
You know, I
favorite
mean,
plant?
plants are like people. You know, if we're not in the right environment, then we can't grow as tall as we should.
What is your favorite plant?
There is a wrong answer to this
Strawberries.
question.
I love strawberry plants.
Okay, you're good.
Everyone was super quiet there for like an extended period of time, and I was like,
Actually, between that one or cucumbers, I couldn't decide.
Cucumbers?
To be honest, cucumbers actually was the first seed I've ever grown, so I was pretty excited for it. Especially in the state I live in, it's extremely hot, so some plants, if I don't take extremely well care of them, and I'm not very careful, they could just easily burn up in the sun and just die.
Oh.
Like I could spend 4 weeks
like
working
all-
on one plant, and if I don't take care of it just right, it's just gone. Nothing
Have
I could
you-
do.
That
have you
sounds
grown
stressful.
anything hydroponically before?
You know what? I actually thought of doing that, but there's a lot to go into that, and I haven't really gotten all the basics down, so I haven't even tried my hand at.
I did that for a science project once. I grew plants with like using like fish as like a fertilizer, not like the fish themselves.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's actually.
Okay.
What's up?
I just said hydroponic gardens are sick. There's so many.
Yeah,
good-
it's actually like fairly efficient. They're very efficient.
I think the main concern I had was like certain diseases like different plants can suffer from, which would have me worried because if I
didn't
don't know
think about
exactly
that.
which disease the plant could get, it could just ruin the whole thing. Like no matter if it's looking the fruit or whatever it grows looks well, if the plant is diseased, you have to throw it all out.
Yeah. I actually think we grew some cucumber plants with hydroponics.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, one
We
time,
definitely check it out.
speaking of cucumbers, one time I saw this wild TV show. It was about this scientist who turned
Oh,
himself
yeah?
Oh
into
my
a pickle.
No.
That's incredible. You should tell me more.
I was gonna go on a fun story about plant diseases and how we lost a whole bunch of plum trees in my backyard to one, and they're just starting to grow back now. And then you had to come in with your pickle.
Okay, well,
Rick.
it sounds like you basically just told the story. I mean, what else?
Yeah, and Luke's was the funniest thing I've ever heard.
I'm gonna have to Dr. Phil exile you, Luke.
You're sending me to Dr. Phil's ranch for troubled people.
The Shadow Realm, but with Dr. Phil.
This is why Zach is the wild card.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest, I always wanted to be the wild card, but I just know that I'm a natural born leader, you know? I can never be anything else.
Alright.
Sucks to suck, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
It sucks,
Okay, buddy.
it sucks that I'm so strong and I have to be the muscle. You know, it's
Yeah, I agree.
I guess I'll be the trucking guy.
I'm
Thank you, Kevin, for not.
the fighter. the
I guess
trump
that
freak.
means that Delilah's the brains.
I'll be the hacker. Yes, I
Yes.
will use my robots to infiltrate the building.
Well, Delilah
Oh.
couldn't answer that one math question.
Listen, okay, let's put on the spot.
What was Luke, what kind of question was that? That was a physics question?
It was
you had
yeah, I
to
mean,
calculate
it was a fairly simple acceleration question. Not fairly simple to just like do in your head in 30 seconds. But
Oh,
like,
okay,
yeah.
it feels
if-
so much better.
if you, I mean, if you wrote it down, if you wrote it down, I'm sure you could get it. It's
But do you think things fall at 10 meters per second? Isn't 9.8?
well, see, oftentimes they say 9.8 or 9.81. But
Yeah.
our teacher in high school was cool, and he said, "You know what, guys? Just say it's 10. I mean,
What?
it's an estimate anyway. When you think about
What?
it, it is an estimate. I'm not wrong."
I mean, yeah, but like 0.2 or how much? I think
But
it's
also,
like,
Zach, when you are pretending that air resistance doesn't exist, you're gonna be off by enough anyway that like the point whatever isn't really gonna change
it
anything.
would be
you know?
less then, though. It wouldn't be more. You wouldn't round up to 10. You would round down.
This is all very
wouldn't you?
interesting.
And that's why, because of air resistance, that airplanes, just like the movie, can fly.
Ugh, that was really clever. That was really good, Kyle. I'm proud of you.
Let's go.
You know, we should watch Airplane. It's a pretty funny
Yeah.
spoof movie.
What's the next thing on the list that we might watch?
We vote on it.
Wait,
Are we
first
done
of all,
talking?
I was gonna say, what's the difference between a spoof and a parody? Because I think that there is a difference, but I don't remember. Is a parody like... Is a parody that it has to be based on one specific thing, and a spoof can be based on a whole genre, or...
Nope. According to Webster's, a parody and spoof are synonyms.
Oh, wow.
Hmm.
Okay.
I thought they were different. Well,
If it's Webster, then it must be right. Well, I mean, it is pretty.
I trust
that is-
Webster with my life.
Yeah, Webster.
He's the
I mean,
Webster
to be
is
honest,
is a pretty trustable
sometimes
source.
dictionaries can lose meaning from, like, specific terminology, you know? I mean,
Yeah,
doesn't necessarily... Whatever.
it is what it is.
Changes with the times.
Then there's a study.com course called Satire, Parody, or Spoof, Different Types of Humorous Writing.
Well, when you think about it, English as a language is always changing based on its usage, which means that if we just define a word one way and then say it enough, it will happen.
I think a satire though is supposed to be specifically like proving a point or something like that. A parody doesn't have to be like proving a point or anything, but I think like a political satire or something it's like humorous, but there's a direct point to it, or someone's making it.
I think that's a political satire, but I think there's also just like normal
Okay,
satire
so-
doesn't.
But I think in general, a satire
I-
is.
Gonna
Yeah,
cut
go
you
ahead.
off. I found, according to the Writing Room, which is like an English website where they have a bunch of writers do a bunch of stuff. Satire is any work that has something to say on some like a specific topic.
Let's go.
Like uses like points inside of that topic to make their points. Like the movie Scream is a satire of the slasher genre, even though it's not very funny. Like it has to say about the genre. A parody.
So it is making an opinion. So I was sort of right.
A parody chooses specific work and makes fun of it to the letter, using like hyperbole and making amusing versions that are similar to the original, but there's key humorous notes. And a spoof can use any like number of the above. Like Airplane is a spoof. It's not necessarily making
Airplane
a specific thing, but it's making fun. It's parodying multiple things, ergo making it a spoof.
Okay,
Wait,
that's so. Yeah. Okay. I'll
In
believe it.
Airplane, when he's ordering his ticket, he changes his voice and he says, "Oh, flight to blah blah blah." No, what was that? A callback to, or like what movie was that? Do you know what I'm saying? Like what?
When he's ordering the ticket,
he's at the front desk ordering a ticket, and his voice changes and he says like, "Oh, one ticket to blah blah blah." No. No regrets or something like that.
I mean, they ask him whether he wants it smoking or no
Smoking
smoking.
or not smoking.
He's talking about. He says he goes up to the counter. He goes, "One-way ticket to Atlanta, no carry-on."
Yeah.
Which that is literally just what you say when you're getting a ticket for a plane. Because he's literally just
a carry-on bag.
I want a ticket to this place only one way, and I don't have a carry-on. That's all he's saying. It's not a reference.
But his voice changes.
I guess he's being serious. He's got places to be. He's got a gal to catch.
Don't we all?
I don't know. My brain was like, "Oh, that must be a reference to a movie or something." He goes, "I have like one ticket to
Watch
Chicago,
me
no
be
baggage."
totally wrong, and I'm the idiot, and like somebody's gonna be like, "Actually, it's a reference," and Zach's gonna get me, and I'm gonna have to apologize.
You could be. I'd be very amused. I'd think it was funny.
Funny, haha. It's a spoof.
I don't know if it's necessarily a
common
spoof just because it's funny. A comedy cannot be a spoof, right? Like a comedy is able to not be a spoof, right?
I'm just gonna post a very, very strange out of context graphic that explains it quite easily.
Do you think that my life is a comedy or a tragedy?
Well, you're gonna have to tell us so we can judge.
About my life?
Yes, tell us about your life.
Well, it all started.
Tragedy.
Are we gonna do the tiebreaker or?
Okay, wait, Kyle, you might
we're
be
doing
right. I
that
just
later.
looked it
We're
up.
not voting. We already decided on that. This was already a thing.
Yeah, but I thought
We'll do it before we stop, but I'm not ready to stop you. I had a question that I wanted to ask Delilah and I forgot it, and for the past like 5 minutes I've been stalling trying to remember the question.
Oh.
I haven't been able to think of it.
Sick. So
Actually,
we'll stall until the end of time.
Is it okay if I go back and explain a little bit more about this guy who crossed the line?
Go
Sure,
for it.
go ahead.
Sure,
That
if you
sounds
think
interesting.
Alright, so not knowing how to deal with him afterwards, at first I was very polite, and he was like, "Hey, would you like to play a game, but for free?" And I was like, "I actually don't have time to play right now. I'm currently working on something that I need to get done." I was like, "But I logged on because I usually just leave my client open just in case I get messages." And he responds back saying, "If you don't want to play with me, you could just say." And I'm like,
Okay, I don't want to play with you.
I'm like, "That's not it. I'm just, I have things I have to do." And they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry. It was a misunderstanding. You know, sometimes it happens to me. People don't want to play and they just lie to me." I'm like, "Okay, I understand that, but, you know, not everyone's like that. And I hope we walk away from this misunderstanding, like, without any misunderstandings. And that it's not that I don't want to play with you. I have other things I have to attend to." And so I leave it like that. And a couple days later, he sees me, and I'm playing a special game mode, and he sees me, and he's like, may I join? And so I asked the person I'm with, hey, is it okay if this person joins? And they're like, no, definitely not. I don't want to play with someone else that I don't know. I'm trying to win the game. And I'm like, all right, that's fine. And
With
so
another client?
No, it wasn't another client.
Oh, okay.
And so, okay, I don't know if I cut off there, but I tell him that no, it's not possible, and he's like, oh, so what? Your friends control you? What, are you just the type of person to let somebody control you like that? And I'm like, I really don't appreciate the way you're talking to me. It's just, you're very rude.
Danger. Yeah.
I'm just like, I know we played one game together, but that doesn't mean you own me or my time, and I'm free to tell you no if I don't want to play. And this person was just like relentless, just like would not let it go, and they just pick a fight with me, and I'm just like, I invite them to play like a game a couple days later, and they play, and that's it. Like after that, they just leave me alone for a while, and then they message me again, and they're like, hey, want to play? And I'm like, no, I'm playing with friends right now. I'm not. We don't have any room. It's a 5-man. And they're like, oh, okay. Well, I see how it is. I'm just like,
Oh,
This guy just has bad timing.
were you playing League?
I do.
Wait, hold on, real fast. This is mostly a question for me. Support main or no?
I am a support main.
Okay. Yeah.
Actually, I like to rotate through all the roles. Support was the first one I started. I actually started off in ADC, and I was just terrible at it. I believe my first game was like 0 and 18 as Tristana, and
I'm not even trying to make like a girl gamer support main. I'm just angry because I play League with a bunch of my friends, and about 15 out of 20 of them are support mains, and it's starting to get on my nerves.
That's a lot of friends.
No, popular guy.
So it's a lot of losers, is what you mean.
Oh. Oh no. No.
Dude, were you continuing with your story? I don't want to cut you off.
Oh no, my story was done. I didn't know what to do with this person, so I actually eventually did remove them off my friends list because they were just
Okay.
I can see why.
There you go.
Like,
yeah.
At first they told me, like, when they ordered me for the first time, they told me, you know, I don't have any friends and it's hard for me to have friends, or it's, hard to keep them around. And I don't want to be rude, but at first I was just like, I'm very sympathetic for this person. And I'm like, I'm sorry to hear that. Like, maybe, just misunderstandings. But after the way they, like, acted like they own me, I was like, it would make sense why it'd be hard for him to keep friends if this is how he treats all of his friends.
Yeah.
Like, you tell him, no one time, and then he just makes up all these stories in his head like you're trying to avoid him or you hate him just because you said no to one game one time. And I'm just like, I'm not for it. It's very difficult for me to handle someone like that, and I just couldn't do it.
That's totally understandable.
Yeah.
I just had to remove them.
That was definitely the right thing to do.
What did you think when we contacted you to be on the podcast? Was that surprising?
Actually, I thought it was a joke. I thought I was just being trolled. Before I said anything, I was just like, maybe I'm being trolled. Like, there are those people that... Okay, so... I used to be messaged from this account named Mark Spencer. And this account starts off by saying, I'm a rich guy, and I'm willing to just... Basically, he just says, I just want to spend all this money on a sugar baby, and I just was like, this person can't be real. Like, he leaves his Discord and his Kick name afterwards, and I'm just like, I thought I was being trolled. Well, I'm more than sure that I was being trolled, and I was like, this is just so strange. Why would I don't understand why anybody would bother to make a fake account and just like troll a bunch of people saying that. Like obviously, I'm not very money motivated, so I was not like, yes, please, may I have the money?
Yeah. I've gotten DMs from bots or something saying like the exact same type of thing.
I just thought it was like maybe some kind of weird bot account, and I'm just like, what? I didn't understand.
Zach, are you on
Maybe they're
eTel
just really
too?
impressed by your My Anime list that you have posted.
Okay, but like,
Thank you.
What was your question?
if I had a robot offering to let me be their sugar baby, I would say yes. Like, robots can be hot. I don't know.
It's all fun and games until they ask your credit card information.
I'll give it to
Exactly.
them.
So Delilah, why do you post about Nagito Danganronpa all the time?
Oh my god.
Did I? I don't think I did.
No, you're right. You don't. You just talk about Mikon Danganronpa.
I love Mikon. I think I thought she was pretty cute.
My favorite character is John Danganronpa.
What is Danganronpa?
It's a long story, but basically it's like a series of games that are anime styled about some teenagers who get trapped in a high school and they have to kill each other to get out.
Oh wow.
There's like a robot bear and everything. It's crazy.
Kind of
And his
like
name's
Battle
Monokuma.
Royale,
Battle
Okay,
Royale type of game. Nice.
Kind
like
of.
the Japanese one. I
Oh,
don't know
oh,
if you know that one.
the original Battle Royale.
Yes, it's kind of like that, but it has more of a mystery kind of like detective kind of style
that's
to it.
that's kind of cool.
So
And
you
don't
just
forget the dating
investigate-
sim elements.
True. You can
Okay.
get somebody's panties.
all right, Delilah. Out of nowhere, bonus round. F Mary killed. Monokuma, Pink Monokuma, or Dr. Phil. Go.
Why?
Kill, marry. What was the last option?
Dr. Phil.
Doctor Barry. I'm burying Dr. Phil.
Marry Dr. Phil.
Dr. Phil is the worst one to marry.
No, I
But he-
said Barry.
She said Barry.
Oh, I misheard.
Barry, yeah.
Bury Dr. Phil.
Mary, Barry, or Sherry?
Hey, stop calling me Sherry. That's not my name. Oh wait, that's wait. That's set up.
We have gone completely off the rails. This is I don't even know what I'm gonna keep of this part.
Wild card.
Everybody
Wow.
else is the wild card. Zach, you've been the most normal one this episode.
Have I?
Actually, well, Kevin has, but that's just because he doesn't want to say anything because his internet's really bad.
Okay, I guess that's
Uh-huh.
a compliment. Thanks, Luke.
I didn't say it
You're
was a
better than my
compliment.
internet.
Oh, I'm taking it as a compliment.
Okay, you can do that.
Okay,
You-
okay, dog.
It was a neutral statement. I'm just anyway. I feel like we're about wrapping it up. If you guys have any final thoughts on, would you recommend Airplane? Would you recommend hiring Delilah?
Yes,
To
I
which
would
one?
recommend,
which
I
do
would rec-
both of those things.
I would recommend
Well,
you know, the jury's still out on Delilah. I don't know.
True.
I don't know. I didn't really hear much of Delilah during the movie.
True.
Well, we
wasn't
were
at-
watching the movie.
Actually, I
True.
took a sick day, so I couldn't be in the movie. I'm sorry.
That's
why I missed it. My scenes weren't in the movie.
Oh,
That's
that's
sad.
yeah. Sometimes the
Did you have-
the editor will just like take everything out, and then you go to watch it, and you're like, I'm not even in this film.
I was supposed to take the part of the girl who was like saying goodbye to the guy who was on the plane, and she was running into a bunch of stuff, and I'm like, hey, here's your watch, and he's like, I don't need it, it's broken. That was supposed to be me, but I just
That's
got sick.
unfortunate.
Actually,
Yeah,
wait.
but
I
it
do
is.
have one more question for you. You said
After all these years, she remembers her lines.
you said that you thought that we were joking at first. When
yeah.
did you realize that we weren't joking?
I looked up the name you had on ePal to see if it was an actual podcast.
Oh, okay.
Would you
You're like,
recommend the
oh.
podcast?
Yeah, I actually would. I was listening to it earlier before I got. I was
Whoa.
like down listening to it. I was like studying, analyzing it. I'm like,
Which one were
promoting
you
the
listening
podcast
to?
on the podcast. So now all the people listening to the podcast will want to listen to the podcast. That's
Let's
genius.
go.
I was
Very.
listening
Which
to
episode were you
the
listening to?
Promise
And
Neverland one.
I was on that one.
I was also on that one.
I was not. That's okay though.
Like I
Yeah,
had
same.
finished watching it myself like a while back, so I was actually just listening to like hear what you guys thought about it.
Oh, that's cool.
Even if it was just like season 1, I was very interested in hearing it.
Yeah, it is one of my favorite shows. Super good.
Okay. This isn't a cubic inch of the Promised Neverland. We already did that one.
Save it for the backlog, the backtrack.
I mean, you did already say the same thing in that episode.
When we do, save it for the retrospective.
Okay, so I think we're just about wrapping up. The question is, what are we going to review next week? And Delilah, what is it?
It's going to be. I actually don't know.
You
You
don't
have
know?
to choose the good one. You have to choose the
I'm
right
on the
one.
edge of my seat. I'm on the edge of my seat. It's Luke versus Kyle.
Don't make it an us versus them thing.
I'm
I voted
gonna-
for yours.
Go Luke, go Luke.
I'm gonna take this personally.
Oh my god, no.
I'm kidding. Choose whatever your heart desires, as long as it's mine.
Okay, I'm just gonna like point. I'm gonna close my eyes and just point.
No,
to
no,
one.
no, no.
No. Choose one. Choose which one sounds more interesting.
Which one would you like to listen to us talk about?
Yes.
FNAF.
Yeah.
Woo!
Okay, so
That was so quick.
for
I'm
next
so upset.
for next time, we are going to be reviewing Five Nights at Freddy's: The Silver Eyes graphic novel. Kevin's been looking forward to this one for ages.
Yes. We get to just talk about FNAF theories for an hour.
I was so excited to talk about Don Hertzfeld. No.
You know what? I wanted to as well, and I voted for it. But overall, I think that FNAF will probably be a little bit funnier. So, yeah.
Wait, can people submit recommendations?
That's a good
for-
question, Zach, because they can if they email us at acubicinchofsound@gmail.com.
I'll be
That's
it.
listening to the next
Maybe
podcast.
I should do good.
And
do
if
that.
you would like to hire Delilah, I'm gonna put the link in the description because that's what happens. That's how you do it.
Hi, please go easy on me.
Yes, and now that she has voted for FNAF, I would definitely not recommend Delilah.